Guys, welcome back. Today will be a tutorial on how you can hold your handstand forever. That's a skill that a lot of people like to have, right? So let's get into it. So the first thing you really need is a handstand. Makes perfect sense, right? You want to hold your handstand, you have to be able to do a handstand, but it's very simple, guys. Just throw your leg up like this. There you go. Super easy. If you cannot do that, it's probably because you're scared. Go against the wall, practice there, get that down. If you cannot get up there, you might as well close this, right? You can't hold the handstand because you cannot do the handstand. So get at least 1 second down. After you got that, let's get into it, guys. So there's two methods to hold your handstand for a long time. The first one is pretty much the working with the fingers and the bend of the arm. So the working with the fingers, this is what you always do when you fall to the back. So whenever I fall to the back, I hope you see this, that I have like a flat screen right here, and when I fall into that, my wife will kill me. So to avoid that, when I do that handstand and I fall to the back, I actually fight with the fingers. My fingers push on the floor and push myself back into the handstand. And by doing that, I will never ever fall into, well, the TV in this case, but you also don't want to fall on your back, obviously, right? So, and when you practice this, really try to eagle claw the floor. A lot of times I see people barely pushing and then they wonder why it doesn't work. You really have to eagle claw the floor, and try to do this every time you do a handstand, by the way. Don't do handstand and when you lose balance start walking. Always work with this pushing, and sooner or later it will click and you will not fall to the back anymore. Obviously awesome, right? And then when you fall to the front, so I'm doing that handstand right now, like this, right? And then I fall to my feet like that. To avoid that, there's another method which we're going to use first, because there's two methods to avoid that. The first one is bending your arms, locking them in place, and pushing yourself back. So falling, no, back. Falling, no, back. And when you go back, you have to push yourself back into the handstand, obviously. Don't, fall and push yourself out of the handstand. You push back to the handstand. So by doing that, you will never fall to your feet. So the way you practice this, I'll show it from the front. I'll sit on my knees, bend my arms as I place them on the floor, and just throw my leg up, similar to how you normally go to the handstand. But because I'm with bent arms, as soon as my body's up, I immediately start pushing. So you don't have to wait. That's quite hard. You just immediately start pushing to get that feeling. So throw my legs up and push, right? So that's what you do. So when you see that little push, that's how you correct yourself whenever you fall. So by doing those two things, that pushing and the working with the fingers, you will never fall and can hold your handstand for a very, very long time. Easily 10 or 20 seconds, guys. So take a look. I'm right now in the handstand, correcting myself. See that? The legs, by the way, really should not matter. It's really all about the arms and locking yourself. If the legs matter, like you're using your legs to balance yourself, that's wrong, because that means you cannot play with your legs and do whatever you want with them, because you need them to balance, okay? Really, it's all about those arms and locking yourself into place there. But if your legs do dangle around, obviously they can pull you out of balance. So it's always better to get a fixed and strong shape, like putting your legs straight up, putting them right, putting them in the bicycle, something like that, right? And when you do the handstand, also try to avoid arching your back too much, right? Push your hip forward like you're a soldier. This will make your back more straight. You can also push your hands a little bit more up, so you're really not in front with the arms, because this will give you that arch shape too. So those two things help a lot. So that's the first way. And when you do this, you can get over a minute with practice, right? But there's a couple of problems with this. And the first one really is the most important if you want to hold the handstand, is each time you have to do this bend, you lose stamina. It takes a lot for your stamina out of it. So the first 15 seconds you won't notice, but after 30 seconds, trust me, if each time you have to do this bend, it's so heavy for you, right? So if your goal is to hold this for a long time, that's not the ideal method. The other way is pretty much not the way to go to the next level, which is leaning on one hand. You can still do that, but that's not the ideal method, right? So, but this is the best method to get down first. It's also the easiest method. Just train this like 3 weeks. Trust me, you will standing on your handstand for 30 seconds, which is awesome, right? But actually, we're gonna now go to the next level, but I really suggest getting the other one first. By having the other one already down, it's very easy to evolve into this one. By going from actually holding your handstand for a split second to going to this level, what we're gonna do now is way, way harder, right? But let's get into it, guys. So if you look from the side, my arm is completely straight, see that? And what I'm gonna do now is push my arm out of my body. My shoulder is going forward and out of my body. I do this with both hands. So by doing that, instead of bending, we're gonna push out. And we're also gonna slightly, really lightly, push to the back. And you do this the whole time, very, very lightly. You'll pretty much reach your shoulder blade limit. You can stand there, and because you do that, you push back from the floor and your shoulders are out. You never have to bend to hold yourself, and you will never fall back to your feet because you are pushing the other way, right? So take a look how I do that. Placing my hands. Now I'm still bending, right? Watch this. Now I'm actually in the perfect handstand. I'm pushed out. I can easily hold this a minute or two, right? Because I'm just standing on my hands. It's just literally like standing on your feet almost, right? So that's the thing you want to get. Now there's a couple of factors that determine if you can really hold this for a long time. One is, well, you need to have a locked position. Like I just said, the legs shouldn't matter, but if your legs are in a, well, dangling, you can pull yourself out of balance in each fight, even if it's just with the fingers. It's very hard. So try to get a locked position. Flexibility really never hurts, guys. Get flexible, and that shouldn't be a problem. The other thing, some two more things that's important. One is you need to be under your shoulders when you handstand. So as you can see now, my hands are completely under my shoulders, and this is not under my shoulders. I can still easily handstand like this, don't get me wrong, right? But it's not the way. And if you can already do a handstand and this is your way, okay, you're fucked. Now joking, but it's very hard to get out of this muscle memory because you can already do the handstand. And you can easily hold that handstand for maybe a minute, but after a minute that gets so hard. Try to always be under your shoulder if you practice, so you don't have to really close like this. But if my hand is under my shoulder, I'm actually just standing on it, right? And the other thing, and this is the most important thing for anything that you want to hold long, it's simple, guys. You need to breathe. If you don't breathe during the move, oh, I'm holding my breath, I lose stamina very fast. But if I stay calm, just breathe. Just relax and breathe. See how easy it is? I can hold these handstands for minutes on end, guys. And the fun fact is, I don't even practice handstands. So how about that? I just do those breakdance moves I always do. I never really focus on handstand. You guys can do that too. Practice this. First get this one down. Take you a couple of weeks, maybe 3. Then you can hold it for longer. As you get better at it, you start pushing those shoulders out and up. There you can hold your handstand forever.